Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Flow. I'm your host, and I'm absolutely thrilled that you've decided to spend some time with me today. Whether you're doing your morning workout, cooking dinner, or just relaxing after a long day, thank you for making English Flow part of your routine. And speaking of routines, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. How many of you have ever said something like this? I really want to improve my English, but I just don't have time to study. Or maybe, I'm too busy with work and family to focus on learning English? If you're nodding your head right now, don't worry. You're definitely not alone. I hear this from English learners all the time. Just last month, I was talking to Roberto, a busy father of two who works full-time as an engineer. He told me, I want to get better at English so badly. I bought all these textbooks. I signed up for online courses. But at the end of the day, I'm just exhausted. I feel like I need to choose between spending time with my family and studying English. And you know what I told Roberto? I said, what if I told you that you don't have to choose? What if English could become so integrated into your daily life that you're learning and improving without it feeling like extra work? That's exactly what we're going to explore today. We're going to talk about how to make English not just something you study, but something you live. How to weave English so naturally into your daily routine that it becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth or checking your phone, because here's the thing, and this might surprise you don't need hours of dedicated study time to dramatically improve your English. What you need is consistency. What you need is integration. What you need is to make English a natural part of who you are and what you do every single day. Think about it this way. How did you become fluent in your native language? Did your parents sit you down for 2 hours every evening with grammar books and vocabulary lists? Of course not. You learned your first language by living it. You heard it all day long. You used it in real situations. You made mistakes and learned from them naturally. The same principle can work for English, even as an adult. The key is to stop thinking of English as a subject you study and start thinking of it as a tool you use. I remember when this concept really clicked for me. I was working with Elena, a marketing professional from Spain. She was frustrated because she'd been taking English classes for years, but still felt nervous speaking in business meetings. She said, I know the grammar. I know the vocabulary, but when I need to use English in real life, my mind goes blank. So I gave Elena a challenge. For 2 weeks, she wasn't allowed to study English in the traditional sense. No textbooks, no grammar exercises, no vocabulary list. Instead, she had to find 5 ways to use English naturally in her daily life. She looked at me like I was crazy, but she agreed to try. 2 weeks later, Elena came back with an amazing transformation. She had started listening to English podcasts during her commute, switched her phone settings to English, began following English-speaking marketing experts on social media, started thinking through her daily to-do lists in English, and even began watching her favorite Netflix shows with English audio instead of dubbing. I don't feel like I'm studying anymore, she told me. I feel like I'm just living my life but in English. And somehow, I'm understanding more and speaking more confidently than I ever have. That's the power of making English part of your life instead of separate from it. When English becomes integrated into activities you're already doing, it doesn't feel like extra work. It feels natural. And when it feels natural, you stick with it. And when you stick with it, you see real, lasting improvement. So how do we do this? How do we transform English from a subject we study to a language we live? The first step is what I call English environment design. This means intentionally surrounding yourself with English in your existing spaces and routines. You're not adding new activities to your day. You're transforming activities you're already doing. Let's start with your phone. I'm willing to bet you check your phone dozens of times every day. What if each of those moments became a micro-English lesson? Change your phone's language settings to English. Change your social media to English. Follow English-speaking accounts related to your interests and hobbies. I know what you might be thinking, but what if I don't understand something important? Here's the beautiful thing. You probably know your phone so well that you'll figure it out through context. And every time you navigate a menu or read a notification, you're reinforcing English vocabulary in a practical, meaningful way. David, one of my students, was initially terrified to change his phone settings. What if I accidentally delete something? He worried. But after just 1 week, he told me, I can't believe how much English I'm reading every day without even thinking about it. And I'm learning words I never would have encountered in a textbook, like swipe, notification, settings, and storage. The next area to transform is your entertainment. Instead of seeing movies, TV shows, and music as separate from your English learning, make them your primary English teachers. But here's the key. Choose content you genuinely enjoy, not content you think you should watch for learning. If you love romantic comedies, watch romantic comedies in English. If you're into cooking shows, find English cooking channels. If you're passionate about football, follow English-speaking sports commentators. When you're genuinely interested in the content, you'll naturally push through moments of confusion because you want to know what happens next. I always recommend starting with content from your own culture that you're already familiar with. If there's a popular show from your country that has an English version, or if there's a movie you've seen a dozen times in your native language, try watching it in English. You already know the story, so you can focus on the language without getting lost in the plot. Lisa, a student from Korea, started by watching Korean dramas with English subtitles, then gradually switched to English audio with English subtitles, and finally to English audio with no subtitles. She said, I never felt like I was studying, but my listening skills improved dramatically. And I learned so many natural expressions that I now use in conversation. But entertainment is just the beginning. Let's talk about transforming your learning and information consumption. If you normally read news in your native language, start reading some English news sources. If you listen to podcasts in your language, find similar podcasts in English. If you watch YouTube videos about your hobbies, find English channels covering the same topics. The key here is not to completely replace your native language consumption, but to gradually add English sources. Maybe start with 20% of your information consumption in English, then slowly increase it as you get more comfortable. Here's something that might surprise you. Start thinking in English about topics you're passionate about. If you're really into fitness, start thinking about your workout plans in English. If you love cooking, narrate your recipes to yourself in English. If you're planning a vacation, do your research in English. When you think in English about subjects you care about, you're not just learning vocabulary. You're building the neural pathways that will help you speak naturally about these topics. You're preparing your brain to express your genuine thoughts and interests in English. Miguel, a chef from Mexico, started thinking through his recipes in English. At first it was challenging, but after a few weeks he found himself naturally able to explain his cooking techniques to English-speaking customers at his restaurant. "I wasn't translating anymore," he said. "I was just thinking about cooking, but in English." Now, let's talk about social integration. One of the most powerful ways to make English part of your life is to connect it with your social relationships and community involvement. Look for local English conversation groups, international meetups, or hobby clubs where English is spoken. The key is to find groups centered around activities you already enjoy. If you play chess, find an international chess club. If you love hiking, join a hiking group with international members. If you're interested in photography, join online photography communities where English is the common language. The beauty of this approach is that you're not just practicing English, you're building genuine relationships and pursuing your interests. The English becomes a natural byproduct of meaningful social interaction. I remember Carlos, a passionate guitar player, who joined an international online community for musicians. He started by just reading posts and comments, then began asking technical questions about guitar techniques, and eventually started sharing his own music and getting feedback from players around the world. His English improved rapidly because he was using it for something he genuinely cared about. But what about your professional life? This is often where people feel the most pressure to improve their English, but also where they feel the most nervous about making mistakes. Start small and build gradually. If you work in an international company, volunteer for small tasks that involve English communication. Offer to help with English documentation. Join English-speaking. If you're not in an international work environment, create your own professional English practice. Read industry publications in English. Follow thought leaders in your field who publish in English. Join professional online communities where English is used. The goal is to make English not just a language skill, but a tool for advancing your career and staying updated in your professional field. When English becomes connected to your professional growth and success, you'll find much stronger motivation to use it regularly. Sarah, an accountant, started by reading just one English article per week about accounting trends. Within 6 months, she was confident enough to attend an international conference in her field and even participated in networking sessions. She said, "English stopped being this scary thing I had to study and became a key part of my professional development." Let's also talk about physical integration, making English part of your physical environment and activities. Put English labels on items around your house. Change your computer and other devices to English. If you exercise, listen to English fitness instructors or motivational content. If you commute, use that time for English podcasts or audiobooks. The idea is to create English moments throughout your day that feel natural and purposeful, not forced or artificial. Every time you encounter English in a real practical context, you're reinforcing the language in a meaningful way. One of my favorite strategies is what I call English narration. Throughout your day, occasionally narrate what you're doing in English. "Now I'm making coffee. I need to be careful not to spill it. Oh, I forgot to buy milk yesterday." This helps train your brain to think in English about everyday activities and builds your ability to describe common situations fluently. Don't worry about speaking out loud if you're in public. You can do this silently in your head. The key is to practice expressing your immediate thoughts and observations in English, making it a natural part of your mental process. But here's something really important. Making English part of your life doesn't mean abandoning your native language or culture. In fact, one of the most powerful approaches is to use English to explore and share your own culture with others. Start a blog in English about your country's food, traditions, or travel destinations. Join international forums, where you can answer questions about your culture. Teach aspects of your native language to English speakers in language exchange partnerships. When you use English as a bridge to share what you're passionate about, it becomes a tool for cultural connection rather than cultural replacement. Antonio, from Italy, started an Instagram account where he posts about traditional Italian recipes, but writes all the captions in English. He said, "I'm not just practicing English, I'm sharing my heritage with people from around the world. Every comment and conversation helps me improve my English while staying connected to what I love about being Italian." Now, let's address some common challenges people face when trying to make English part of their daily lives. First, the perfectionist trap. Some people hesitate to integrate English into their daily activities because they're worried about not understanding everything or making mistakes. Remember, the goal isn't perfect comprehension, it's gradual. Natural improvement through exposure and practice. When you're watching an English movie and you don't understand a word or phrase, don't pause and look it up unless it's absolutely crucial to understanding the plot. Let it go and keep watching. You'll often figure out meaning from context, and even if you don't, you're still benefiting from the exposure to natural English rhythm and intonation. Second, the time concern. People often worry that making English part of their life will somehow make their daily activities take longer or become more complicated. In reality, the opposite is usually true. Once you adjust to English settings on your devices or English content for entertainment, it becomes just as quick and natural as using your native language. Third, the social pressure worry. Some people are concerned about what friends and family might think if they start consuming more English media or joining English-speaking communities. Remember, you're not replacing your existing relationships. You're expanding your world. Most people will actually admire your commitment to personal growth and global connection. Let me share some specific weekly challenges you can try to gradually make English more integrated into your life. Week 1, the Digital Integration Challenge. Change one electronic device to English each day. Start with your phone, then your computer, then your tablet. By the end of the week, you'll be reading English constantly without even thinking about it. Week 2. The Entertainment Evolution Challenge. Replace 1 hour of native language entertainment with English entertainment each day. Maybe it's your morning podcast, your lunch break YouTube videos, or your evening TV show. Choose content you're genuinely excited about. Week 3. The Professional Connection Challenge. Spend 15 minutes each day consuming professional content in English. Read industry news, watch training videos, or join professional discussions online in your field. Week 4. The Social Expansion Challenge. Connect with one new English-speaking person or community related to your interests. This could be online or in person, formal or casual. Week 5. The Creative Expression Challenge. Use English to create something. Write a blog post, Record a video, share your thoughts on social media, or participate in online discussions about your hobbies or interests. The beautiful thing about this gradual approach is that each week builds on the previous one. By the end of 5 weeks, English isn't something extra you're doing. It's woven naturally into multiple aspects of your daily life. Here's what I want you to understand. Making English part of your life isn't about perfection or complete fluency from day one. It's about creating a sustainable, enjoyable relationship with the language that grows stronger over time. Remember Roberto, who I mentioned at the beginning? After 6 months of gradually integrating English into his daily routine, he told me something that really stuck with me. He said, "I used to think I was too busy to learn English. Now I realize I was never too busy. I just wasn't being smart about it. English isn't something extra I do anymore. It's just part of how I live." And that's exactly what I want for all of you. I want English to stop feeling like homework and start feeling like a natural extension of your interests, your relationships, your professional growth, and your daily experiences. The most successful English learners I know aren't the ones who study the hardest. They're the ones who live the language most naturally. They're the ones who have found ways to make English relevant, practical, and enjoyable in their everyday lives. Your English improvement doesn't have to come from sitting at a desk with textbooks. It can come from watching the shows you love, pursuing the hobbies you're passionate about, connecting with people who share your interests, advancing in your career, and exploring the world from the comfort of your own home. When English becomes part of your life rather than separate from it, something magical happens. You stop feeling like you're studying a foreign language and start feeling like you're expanding your world. You stop worrying about mistakes and start focusing on communication. You stop seeing English as an obligation and start seeing it as an opportunity. So my challenge to you this week is simple. Choose one aspect of your daily life and add an English element to it. Maybe it's changing your phone settings, finding an English podcast about your hobby, joining an online community related to your interests, or starting to think about your daily activities in English. Start small, be consistent, and trust the process. Remember, every native English speaker you admire learned the language by living it, not just by studying it. You can do the same. That's all for today's episode of English Flow. Thank you so much for letting me be part of your English journey. I hope this episode has given you some practical ideas and, more importantly, a new way of thinking about how English can fit naturally into your life. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with other English learners who might benefit from making English a natural part of their daily experience. And remember, your English doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. Every day that you choose to engage with English, you're making progress. Until next time, keep integrating, keep growing, and keep making English a natural part of the